Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're looking at the shifting foundations of the WordPress ecosystem. We're talking about a massive wave of recent events that highlight exactly how open source development, community events, and digital business models are rapidly evolving, like right in front of us. From indie devs facing some really harsh economic realities to huge shifts in how educational content is valued, there is just a lot to unpack here. Okay, let's dive into this. So, here's our agenda for today. First, the plugin business reality. Second, rethinking lifetime deals. Third, WordPress hitting Apple TV. Fourth, the WordCamp US ticket struggles. And finally, how to stay updated with WP More. All right, Section 1, the plugin business reality. Let's zoom in on the micro level of indie plugin development to look at the actual harsh economic realities developers are facing today. We got news that veteran developer Ronald Horeika is officially closing DLX plugins. He's run this shop since the early days of the WordPress ecosystem, and he's sunsetting it on October 1st, 2026. But what's truly remarkable, and frankly just deeply respectful of the community, is how he's handling this exit. Instead of leaving his lifetime users completely stranded, he's taking the incredibly kind step of stripping the license restrictions from his premium plugins and open sourcing all the code on GitHub. He's leaving his users with a clean, forkable copy they can maintain themselves. So, the crucial point is, why close up shop? Well, it boils down to this: declining installs, shrinking sales, and the rising cost of running a solo plugin business. That's what pushed him to make this incredibly tough call after operating in the red for a while. It's a stark reminder of just how tight the margins can be for indie developers in today's mature WordPress market. This really frames a vital underlying business lesson for the wider community. When a plugin is brand new, developers are in launch mode, pushing out fresh features, running heavy promos. That creates a huge spike in interest. But if they don't shift gears to a marketing engine, focusing on SEO, building email lists, driving customer retention, the growth completely stalls as soon as that initial buzz fades. Actually, launching is the easy part. Sustainable growth, that requires an entirely different set of activities. Moving right along to Section 2, rethinking lifetime deals. Let's zoom out to the macro level to see how broader digital business models, specifically around the value of information, are fundamentally changing. For nearly 15 years, Rodolfo Malaglio over at Business Bloomer has basically been telling the WooCommerce community that lifetime deals were absolutely the fairest way to sell digital products. But recently, in a very honest pivot, he announced he's dropping lifetime deals for the Business Bloomer Club and switching entirely to a subscription model. For a true staple of the WooCommerce world, this is a massive philosophical shift. So, why end lifetime deals now? Well, it's absolutely not a cash grab. Rodolfo argues that the market has fundamentally shifted, mostly because of AI. AI makes information so much cheaper and faster to produce, which means educational content goes stale way faster. Back when expertise was hard to find, a one-time payment made perfect sense, right? Because knowledge stayed relevant for years. But today, continuous updates are mandatory. So a one-time lifetime payment model, it simply doesn't align with the ongoing cost of keeping content relevant anymore. Let's move to Section 3 and see how this builds into a totally different kind of development. WordPress hits Apple TV. While some areas of the ecosystem are definitely struggling with business models, WordPress is simultaneously executing a massive expansion of access. Get this, WordPress just launched a native Apple TV app. It's called WordPress TV, and it literally brings the entire library from WordPress.tv directly into your living room. We're talking about thousands of free talks, tutorials, and WordCamp session recordings from all over the globe. All of it is available to browse and stream without paying a single cent. Gone are the days of the classic laptop hunch, squinting at a tiny screen to catch up on a session you missed. Now you have effortless integration with the Apple ecosystem. You can literally just sit back on your couch and watch full, high-quality sessions on the big screen. It's an incredible resource for us focused learners who just want to absorb knowledge comfortably. Okay, Section 4, WordCamp US ticket struggles. While digital access to WordCamps is definitely improving, we need to pivot to the physical side of community shifts, specifically looking at WordCamp US 2026, which is set for this August in Phoenix, Arizona. 440. Yep, that is the number of tickets sold for WordCamp US at the time of the latest reporting. To put that into perspective for you, this is a flagship event that typically expects anywhere between 1,200 and 2,000 attendees. With just about a month to go before the event actually kicks off, that number is causing a lot of concern. Let's contextualize this struggle with a little data. Why are ticket sales lagging so badly? Well, the speaker lineup and schedule haven't even been published yet, which makes it pretty hard for attendees to justify the trip. Plus, planning for this year only started in late March. This is kind of compounding a snowball effect of issues from last year. You had the automatic layoffs disrupting the handover process, and that resulted in a 2025 attendance drop of 38%. The silence from organizers on the schedule has, unfortunately, fed a ton of anxious debate across Slack and social media. But, the community is actively trying to help by floating several potential solutions. Some folks are suggesting a bring a friend promotion to leverage the current ticket holders. Others are asking for a lower tier ticket option, one that just skips the food and swag to reduce costs. And some are even suggesting dropping the WordPress.org account requirement entirely, just to remove friction from the checkout process. It's actually a really fascinating look at a community rallying together to try and problem solve a flagship event in real time. And that brings us to Section 5. Stay updated with WP More. Let's tie all these changing tides together and wrap up the explainer. So, with plugin shops closing, massive shifts in business models, shiny new apps launching, and flagship events facing critical turning points, how do you actually keep up with all these rapid changes? I mean, I know it's a genuine challenge, and frankly, it's kind of overwhelming to stay informed without spending hours every single week reading a dozen different blogs. Well, the absolute best way to stay on top of all of this is to visit wpmore.net. Consider this a real essential life hack for navigating the ecosystem. I highly encourage you to go there and subscribe to the free WP More newsletter. They take all the noise, filter it down, and deliver this beautifully curated all-in-one news digest straight to your inbox every single week. It is absolute essential reading if you want to understand where the platform and the community are heading. And hey, if once a week just isn't fast enough for you, WP More posts daily updates across all the major social channels. Whether you prefer X, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, or Facebook, you can follow them there to make sure you never miss a beat on these critical ecosystem shifts as they actually happen. To wrap things up, I want to leave you with a really provocative thought. It's inspired by an article from Juice DeValk that was highlighted in this week's WP More newsletter. It's titled, "Stewarded Open Source is Not Enough. Who Can Cut You Off?" As we navigate the changing economics of plugins and community events, it's really worth asking ourselves, what does open source actually protect us from? And maybe more importantly, what doesn't it protect us from? Who actually holds the keys to your digital business? Think on that, keep learning, and we'll see you in the next explainer.